The Hilltoppers baseball season just recently ended, and it was a season that saw them end very strong and make the Sun Belt tournament. Joining us now is WKU head coach, Coach Myers, man.
Coach,
I couldn't get you. I was so excited to have Coach Myers on
I
you.
know you were. It's all right.
How are you guys?
I'm doing
well.
good.
Coach, I want to kind of start off there at the end of the year. You guys had a kind of a pressure situation for your biggest rival, Middle Tennessee. You knew you had to win at least 2 of the 3 to make the Sun Belt tournament, and you guys went out and took care of business the first 2 games and got into the tournament. And obviously, how big was that for you guys to be able to do that? Not only get into the tournament, but beat your biggest rival doing it.
Well, we kind of put ourselves in a little bit of a corner by having to do it on the last weekend. I was hoping we'd take care of that a little bit sooner and our kids could relax. But I think that week started with Eastern Kentucky on Tuesday. We really came out and played well against a very good Eastern Kentucky team. The kids were very relaxed, which I thought of all weeks. It seemed like we've been scrambling all year and thought that we may be a little more tense going into that game. But maybe the familiarity of playing Middle already earlier in the year. We kind of knew the opponent, who we were going to face. We'd seen them for 3 games down their place. And, I just told our guys, take one day at a time. We couldn't worry about the Friday game before the Thursday game got done with. And then we'll worry about Friday, and then we'll worry about Saturday. And, the big game was the most important one was Thursday, getting that done. And Austin Clay going out and throwing 6 innings of 3-hit baseball really set the tone. And our offense getting the lead early. It was the kind of thing for us all year. But when the games were really important like that one was, I think that set the tone. And then I think when we won, of course, Middle had come in, lost like 5 in a row in the league. So you had one team trying to build momentum. One was reeling a little bit. Yeah. And you're playing your rivals. And we're at our place. So the advantage was all for us. And the good thing was, is I told our guys, put your destiny in your own hands. Don't let someone else decide whether we're going to go to the tournament or not. And, we did it ourselves. And that was the neat thing. So our guys could still go out and play. Had we gone into that weekend and our fate was controlled by someone else, I don't know if the results would have been the same.
Coach, and talk a little bit about, the big game against Louisville. We talked there, we were there.
Yeah.
And, you guys had the injuries and just some things that were working against you, but yet, your team was able to find a way to beat, one of the top-ranked teams in the country, and you did it. And just talk about the psyche of this game and how guys can kind of get themselves up for the big game.
Well, I think anytime we're playing at the Pro Park down there, and especially when you're playing Louisville and UK, and, we're always going to go against them recruiting for kids in the state and kids in the border states, and I think the opportunity to play those teams, we've played Louisville very competitively over the last 4 or 5 years. It's always been a very close game. More at their place has it been closer. Our place here, whether we've been at the Nick or at VG's ballpark, have been the more decisive games. Lately, it's been on our side. But I just think that atmosphere, the crowd for those games, I really think it's like a regional game. And our guys just, for whatever reason, I think young kids, the adrenaline level goes way up. And it helped. We kind of purposely did this. The battery of that game was from Louisville. You had our catcher from Mayo and our pitcher that day is from St. X. So, when you grow up and living up in the backyard of Louisville and you don't get to go there, but you get a chance to send a message back to them, those 2 guys had as good as games as if they had all year. And, our guys just, I love the support we get when we play at that facility, and our kids really respond to it. And I thought, that was it. We weren't, Louisville's having a great year, so we weren't intimidated or, oh my gosh, we have to play perfect. We know we were right there with them. They've been more consistent throughout the year than we had. But, I was looking the other day, the one time our rotation was healthy all year was against Kent State, who's going to a super regional, and we beat them 2 out of 3. So, it was an unfortunate season, but we were real close. We had just a couple more guys. This team may have been a lot different.
We talked on a little bit about Louisville and Kentucky, how you battled against them with recruiting.
Yeah.
And here we signed 4 local guys.
Yep.
I got to think there's got to be a double bonus when you have local guys who can play at your guys' level, and then the fact that if you sign them, you're not only getting them, but the fans, more people are apt to come to the games and watch these local kids kind of stay in this area and watch them play.
No question. And we've gotten tremendous outpour support. Not that we wouldn't anyway, but getting those 4 great players. And listen, not only are they from here, but they're very good players, but they're even better people. And that's big in our program, character and what you do. I think that's how we've gotten to where we've been in the last 4 years, is by getting really good kids in here that have maybe come with a chip on their shoulder and have worked really hard to develop, but because of their makeup, and I think getting those kids, and of course Dr. Ransdell wants to keep the local talent at home, so
Sure.
we've done our best on the baseball to keep those 4 guys here, and I think they're all going to make great contributions early to the program, and I'm excited. It's neat when Ross Hammonds gets to come out and throw at the ballpark, or in front of Rye
Sure.
Davis. Those 2 guys we had that were local kids that everyone come out and support. Now we got 4 more coming in that people can really jump on the bandwagon with.
It was great to see you at Nick Dennis Field during the 4th Region Tournament. You were there. You were taking it all in. And I know that it's special for the fans to see a college coach mingling, kind of being out there. It looked like you were having a great time. It's a big deal for these student athletes to go to Nick Dennis Field or to go to, Diddle Arena and play. But, it was quite an electrifying atmosphere, wasn't it, Coach, to see all those fans there?
That was a great crowd between South Warren and Bowling Green, and 2 very competitive schools, competitive programs. Obviously, the tradition that Bowling Green has had, of course, a lot older school, but only 2 years in at South Warren, and Coach Gage takes them to the States, and what a great story that is. But Coach Mosier and his team had a great year, and I looked up and I said, this is probably the biggest crowd that these kids have played in front of any time, and it's neat. That says a lot about our community and the support, not for the 2 schools. And I think it didn't matter what school was out there. It had been Warren East, Warren Central, South Warren, Bowling Green. You'd have had that crowd, and that just shows the support for the sport and for the people in our community who support the high school sports and all athletics in this area.
That's crazy.
Well, Coach, you talked about character in your kids. You look at a guy like Josh Bartley, who was on a team program 2 years in, and he really was their anchor this year, pitching.
Yeah.
How big does that translate onto baseball? Not just his talent alone, but the fact that he can help take this program and be part of a building block of a program like that. Now he's kind of bringing that to you guys.
Well, he definitely knows how to build something very quickly. Weren't probably given a lot of chances for South Warren to have this much success this early, but in baseball, it takes one guy on the mound at the right time, and Josh was on the mound against Bowling Green. It'd been neat to see Jackson against Josh in that championship game, just our 2 signees going after each other. But, Josh is a very athletic kid. He's a tough kid, mentally and physically, very athletic. And, he's a very good hitter. He can pitch. He's one of those guys that just give me the ball and I'll win. And I think you can say that about Jackson. You can say that about Trevor Lowe. You can say that about Parker Cash.
Yeah.
All those guys have a kind of a common denominator in who they are and their makeup. And look what Josh did. I mean, he pitched out of relief in game 1 to keep it close. Was kind of on the wire until they needed him, and then they said, "Hey, ball's yours." He goes and throws, and turns around on Monday and goes and wins the first game in the States. And and if you talk to him, he's just a low-key kid that no big deal. This is what I'm going to do, and that's confidence and success coming out of that kid. And I can't wait to have him be a part of what we're doing.
All right, well, Coach, we appreciate you stopping
Thank you
by.
very
Glad
much.
having you show.
Great
We
to
got to
see you,
have you
Coach.
on
Good to see
again
you
sometime
guys.
soon.
Absolutely.
regular.
Stay tuned when we come back. We have a guest you won't believe.